Alright, what's going on, guys? Now, I didn't actually plan on making this vid, but I had a couple of thoughts that crossed my mind, so I thought I'd go ahead and drop them for y'all real quick. So, we're going to speak on gangstalking real quick, and I'm just going to give a little of my experience. Now, I do want to ask, for those of you who are viewing this right now, I thought to myself, okay, could I make a vid called Top 10 Gangstalking Moments? Now, would that be a good move, or would that not be such a good move? Now, I know it's kind of tricky me asking you that, because obviously, that should just only be a question that I should be asking myself. But I did want to ask you guys, just because you're viewing, if that is something you'd be interested in hearing, is just me speaking on my top experiences putting up with this. And I got some pretty good stories, but then again, with how deep this is, it is not entertainment. It is very real. And it's just, we've reached a position here where we've really seen the depths of it, and we've really went through the experiences to know what's best for ourselves and what could really cause self-sabotage. And what I believe causes that is when I believe that not many content creators who are speaking on this topic are speaking on how the platform you're speaking on to bring awareness about this topic is playing such a huge role in it, and I believe is part of it, of the virtual policing. Because you're part of an algorithm, and this is something I've noticed, depending on even putting the title in the video, how you speak about that title in the video, and the certain words you use. It's almost like these notifications, depending on what platform you're using, will only be brought out to certain people who do continue to y'all already know that there's tricky things going on, so we're not going to get specific with that. So let's go back to the whole self-sabotage thing. Now, what the definition of that can be broad, and it depends on who you are. All of this really comes down to who you are. We broke down just the many different categories, races, religions, backgrounds, ethnicities that everyone is coming from. So this is really a broad term, yet one thing we can all agree on is that this is really it. It's unbelievable, man. Petty crimes being used against you, for the most part, is something that could definitely start this. Speaking on political situations, and depending on how aware you are, the way you came about it. Remember, there's plenty of people going through gang stalking. It's not just you. There's auditors who know that they're going through this. You notice how they don't speak on it. We spoke on how people who be driving through the hoods, people who really go into depth and show the behind closed doors things that go on in the world, they are going through this. And possibly they could know it. A lot of them do know it, kind of poke fun at it, and kind of just, create content out of it or whatever. Trust me, you're not the only one. Even pranksters could possibly, be going through stuff like this. YouTube pranksters, trust me. I believe that someone who looks at this, because it is a positive connotation and a negative connotation. It's just something you notice, and it's up to you if you really want to expose and speak on how illegal it is, and how there are really agencies that are really orchestrating and doing illegal things. But it all comes down to who you are. And this is speaking from my experience. I truly do believe it comes down to who you are, and it really is a collection of the whole 9 yards. So we spoke on petty crimes that could be used against you. That's a negative connotation. Now, what's a positive connotation? You showing higher authorities that you are really at that awareness to let them know that you're someone who's in a trustworthy, authoritative position. A lot of people in authoritative positions are going through this. It's not just you. It's a rabbit hole, and this is something I got right here, because this is something that I kind of wrote down on tabs. A rabbit hole if you keep missing shifts, not expanding and building on a new awareness. It's on the way you do things. This is why you hear people saying it's a peeping Tom program and things like that. It depends on who you are, and honestly how aggravating it is for you, with your environment, the city you live in. If you live in a small town going through this, but if you're going through a city going through this, it's very harmful either way. You can't really compare it. There's really no comparing this, Now, with my experience, right? When I very first began going through this, it was almost like I expected it, and I was just kind of trying to get more like Inspector Gadget into it, like, whoa, how do they do this? And then you really see, when you read into like the Google things where you hear about neural monitoring and all that, and you're getting all that information off Google. This is also something that is a website created and built and run by individuals who would even have the technology to do this type of stuff to you in the first place. So a lot of new technology and neural monitoring and nanotechnology and all the stuff you hear about is being used in this. And there's a couple other things we could speak on right now, but I'm not really going to go into that right now. I kind of just want to break down what the reason I'm kind of making this vid, and I also want to kind of join in. Now I'm going to have on this vid sacrificing stability for peaceful state of mind. Okay, now why do I have that? I said that there's a negative and a positive connotation to this, and it is very dependent. And I know a lot of you can kind of think this is irrelevant because I'm not speaking on some things that you hear a bunch of other people speaking on. So I'm coming at this from a different angle. Why? Because you are going through this, yet you are watching this on a platform right now. So you, depending on what petty crimes, if even, what that cause you to be targeted, because it's got to be a collection. And especially coming over here, this is the reason we're coming a certain way, right? It's got to be a collection of high awarenesses. The majority of the people cannot comprehend this, because it's real. 98% of the people cannot comprehend this, and this is why I said, and it's irrelevant to this video, but I gotta say it, why there's tears to this. Because then we get into things like politics. I came across some TI's channels, and still in one of the categories. So that's a talk for a different time, but this is what allows me to know there's people coming from different perspectives here. This could be a situation, if you're on the low side of it, where you could possibly owe spiritual debt. And there's some things that you need to do that is going to help you get to a better position. And this because you're someone who reached an awareness to even speak on this topic here. And to even want to create content speaking on gangstalking. So this is where I get into things like the psycho ego trick, speaking on what's happening to you. And there's reasons why you speak on this because, hey, man, you got to survive. A lot of us are better at using certain situations and seeing the type of people who come our way. And it's not like you're using, but you really have to be on point every day. Especially if you're someone choosing to even speak on this, because there's so many people going through this who do not choose to actually get up and speak about this. So I guess you can call it not really like passionate, but it's very intriguing, especially to see positions where you've even been in scenarios where it was back and forth with higher authoritative people, where you've had discussions with police officers during certain times and things, and what it leads to. And there's a lot of, it's one of those things where, okay, this is happening, but you can still be in a position to not be paranoid because you are aware of some things. And this isn't to say that you're smarter or even comparing yourself to another person's mindset, but a lot of people going through this are being mind controlled, Especially if you want to specify them, wearing this at a certain time and coming out during this at a certain time. It is real tricky because that's the trick. This is what I believe is the trick. For you to get on a platform, a social media platform, speak about this, and and we've surpassed a situation, and it's kind of outdated when you're and if you're someone who's new going through this, you'll see how much you really mature, and see that it's up to you if you really want to, what's that word, if you really want to, what's that word when you have to, gosh, I can't think of it. Kind of own up to your position. That ain't really the word I'm thinking of, because a lot of people won't want to because it's tough, especially if it's a situation where you have to lead by example and stuff. And hey, a lot of people want to do that. Not a lot of people got the confidence to believe that they're in a position to do that. It really depends on you. Using examples that happen to you. These are, so now this is why you see a lot of people now taking the more teacher route. And I got to get a little, I got to say this. There's such a thing that was called the TI community, and this whole little fake beef war that happened with troll channels, and y'all already know what I'm speaking about, but we ain't gonna get into detail because we're not going backwards, right? All that ended because of me. So we're doing things a different way here, because you'll sit here and you'll listen to people who are in the algorithm and choose to speak about this a certain way, but at the end of and it don't matter, because we're all over here trying to help each other anyway with our different ways. So shout out to everyone who's been speaking on this. Shout out to everyone. And everyone's got their different, person they'd rather listen to, and that's what's up, okay? But anyway, that's where I wanted to come with this. Let me end it on this. Now, what do I mean by sacrificing stability for peaceful state of mind? A lot of individuals going through this are facing homelessness. And guess what? A lot of people going through this facing homelessness chose to face homelessness. You could have took a risk. That was a benefit, worked out, but then there were situations that could have played out that made you pick and choose, made you feel paranoid, It depends on what you do. It really does depend on what you do. It depends on the way you go about it, and it could be a rabbit hole if you continue to miss shifts. New awarenesses where you're not building on that and you're not expanding on what it is that you truly want to do. You got to have a purpose. You got to have a motive as this is what you're going through, because you really did understand what's underneath the layer to see what's on top, and you see what's on top is a load of horseshit. It's a load of horseshit. The things that they use to really have you go through this, the nonsense that you really had to put up with going through this. When I was just being trolled in your position, you could be a position of authority, and this is where we're coming from. Getting trolled because you're good at what you're doing, right? So you can't actually be told like you can't do this anymore. No, they gotta force you into something, whether it be something better, new. It's up to you. It's on how you do it. But it can get tricky when it comes to broadcasting specific details. You could be someone, let's say you want to speak about organized mobbing, and you're going to share your story and you get detailed on YouTube or whatever, or any platform you're speaking on. Depending on how aware you are and how specific you get on it, and if you're really going through this, you can't argue the next day in that job location that you were talking about on the internet that there's going to be some funny business going on. You can't argue that. So this is where we're coming from. There will be situations where you may get uncomfortable in a position that should be comfortable, like having a roof over your head. And you really might take a route where you're like, man, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth what I'm seeing right now. Or, you could have been someone who missed a shift. You got to damn near be perfect. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This ain't no funny stuff. And I'd be lying if I didn't sit here and tell you guys, you got to damn near be perfect if you want to sit here and break this down and actually try to make sense. And not a lot of people are going to agree with you, and not a lot of people are going to like what you're saying, but you can't sit here and say that ain't someone who's talking what they're talking about here ain't aware and really going through something right here. Don't sit here and lie. You know it. You get what and my bad, I got this on because I was working earlier and stuff. It's been really hot. So that's why you may see someone actually sacrifice stability for a peaceful state of mind, which means, being isolated for a bit. This is something you'll have to do in order to even understand and comprehend this situation, But no, this is somewhere where I'm coming from, where in order to make this work, you got to be around people. Teamwork really does make the dream work. You're gonna have to communicate. Eventually, you're gonna have to get together. Eventually, we're gonna have to do something. We're all gonna have to come together and really do something if you're really someone who cares about bringing awareness to this, all right? But that's the trick, especially if you want to break down negative things and use examples and speak about me and all this. It may work for you though. You know what I'm saying? That's not a bad thing if you're someone who's doing that, But if you're gonna complain, that's where we get into things. So you can be highly successful going through this. Oh yeah, you could be a very successful going through this, because there's many different factors. It's the negative connotations. We spoke about petty stuff. You could have needed to get fingerprinted. A lot of people going through this went through very glitchy situations that would cause you to have an awareness to put you in this too, and then even build on a collective awareness to bring you to this situation. You got to go through experiences. You know, I spoke on my double jaw surgery, played a big role, you know, and it corresponded with this whole, you know, pandemic that was going on too. So we spoke on, you know, how we were speaking against that, wearing a mask during the time we had to get surgery, and really glitchy. That's a glitch. You can't sit here and tell me the timing of that is a glitch. And hearing this information from the same person who went through this. So a lot of times, you know, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. But one thing I would tell people, especially if you're not someone who is fully seeing eye to eye with this, or you're someone who's new to this, do not ever just make an assumption off one person's video. If you're new to the channel, check out the previous videos. I got a video called Gangstalking and a Psycho Ego Trick. It even got proof on that vid. Check that one out too. And it shows just the different ways you could put up with this. Understand your energy too. I spoke on things like astrology, and I know a lot of you, this is what I spoke on the tier thing, but we won't get into that. A lot of you ain't seeing eye to eye with that either. That's fine. But patterns, routines, your energy, knowing who you are, the way you go, trust me, when you really reach the rabbit hole and understand some things, you can see some things, and you can, you know, going through this you'd be shocked. You'd be shocked, and you'd call me crazy, depending on who you are. If I said, hey, if you're someone who really understands awareness like that, it could be a position you could look at as positive. You call me crazy though, if I said that. Nah, it's aggravating because you went through scenarios. But if you know how to understand and get better, and it's real dangerous even saying things like that, because you know but hey, yo, you can't even say to yourself that there's gonna be no flaw. You can't have no flaw anymore, really. You can't make a mistake anymore, really, because you know what's up. That's the thing, you know what's up. So it's a slap in your face the minute something goes wrong. You know what you did. You know what you did, and this is where we get into the feelings and them using colors to play on your emotions, and you know, the drones and all this. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? And there's a reason why certain things are being shown to certain people on this thing, you know? So it really depends on things, and this is where we get into individuals seeing funny things, and you know, speaking on social media, and who gets to see what, and why isn't this seeing what, depending on how far the rabbit hole is for you, especially when it comes to things like court, or if, you know, paperwork with kids and stuff like that, and CPS and all this stuff you be hearing, and agencies, and your mental health. A lot of you have been to mental hospital and stuff like that, and you know, man, you know what I'm saying? So it's tricky when it comes down to, you know, agencies, the way you speak about them. If you're someone who's going to be recording and going in and recording agencies and recording cops, they already know that. So they see why you're doing what you're doing, and you're going to think that what you're doing, and hey, I'm not judging anyone, but just know that what you're doing is the reason that your response is the way it is, yes. Compared to if you weren't recording, your response would be different during that time. Tell me I ain't lying. Okay, so anyway, let me go ahead and summarize this one up. I'm gonna call this with gangstalking, virtual policing, neural monitoring, all right? Sacrificing stability for peaceful state of mind. You're in this situation right now because of flaws you made in your life. Ain't no gang stalker doing nothing to you. Now they're playing on your emotions and they're playing games, and yeah, the minute you come out the door, this dude come out the door at the same time, I kid you not. And this person wearing this color at the same time, but guess what? They want you to specify this at this location so they could switch it up and play another mind game and make you feel paranoid, and we ain't doing that. You know, you own the environment you're in. You do that. You own the environment you're in, and you quit being weak. Because that's all weak at this point, if you're really over here regurgitating another person's story that already happened to them. So you're telling the same story because it basically happened to the same person, bro. So we already know that these people being mind controlled. They can't even talk like this. Y'all know that. Everyone's speaking a script Everyone's speaking a way where they want someone to hear them a certain way so they can sound a certain way and look a certain way. Other than that, you wouldn't be uploading whatever you're uploading considered as self-sabotage. Well, look at what's happening to me. For attention. This is when every time I gotta speak to a police officer, I'm not recording him, yo. Every time I go to court or whatever and I gotta take care of some nonsense I gotta do, I'm not recording them, yo. Just take care of it. Because they see what you're doing and why you're doing it. Yes, we do want to expose it. And yes, maybe it did reach such a rabbit hole for you needing to do that. But don't complain about what the outcome is when you do that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. These platforms you're speaking on, how come you guys aren't speaking on the platforms that play a role in it too? Am I not lying? And this is where I'm coming from. Ain't no one trying to sound smart. But then this is where you can see where someone would be willing to go to be in a car, to not be in a roof at the same time. And thank God we got one now. You know what I'm saying? So blessings come. Blessings do come. And be grateful. And don't be gloating when things come your way. And you better just be quiet and keep a lot of things to yourself. You don't need to speak on a lot of things. But yes, sir, this is some real aggravating stuff. The mind games, they really took it that far with you, so they can't retract. They know what it is that they did, and this is why you're in a position like this, and why sometimes it may seem like there's some freebie nonsense. But don't you dare think that you could just get away with anything. And a lot of you talking about, oh, and I'm a hire this and that. That's what's up, yo. That's what's up. That's good. Imagine if a lot of people got in their ego like you. You wouldn't really like that. You'd be switching up your tone and everything now, wouldn't you? So anyway, this is where we're coming from. Remember, you're not the only one going through it. There's a lot of people successful, doing what they love, going through this. Just being mature about it in your own different way. If you don't like it, if you think it's, it's illegal, and I don't think, but it's illegal. But some people know that, but they see the benefits they get from it. Hey, they ain't gonna waste their time with that. And I'm keeping it 100 on you guys with this. And a lot of you are doing what's really the right thing, and you exposing it, and you ain't really got the time to even be putting up with the nonsense. So hell yeah. But the energy you put in is what you're going to get out, and the way you do it is the way it's going to come back to you. Tell me I ain't lying on this. So we ain't got time to be getting over here aggravated and shit. Because a lot of us believe this is some virtual policing thing, where if you had some things that was going on, and hey, maybe there is a situation where you're being given a little grace or something, well, you better at least show that you know something. Show you ain't a dummy. This is why we be making vids and shit like that. Because other than that, hey man, you gotta take what it is that you did, and you need to take accountability in this shit. And we got things we gotta do, and shit ain't over. This is why we coming from situations like this. A lot of us are in a situation where we have that situation where we gotta come this way. We need to come this way. Because eventually it's gonna show that's who you are. You were someone who was supposed to come this way. But you messed up, and that's why you in your emotions. And the minute you get in your emotions and you're allowing whatever a gang stalker doing to you to dictate the way you feel, hey, you probably just weak then. You can't handle it. Hell no, you can't sit here and tell me some gang stalker making you feel a certain way and this is the reason he did this and you landed here. All that shit weak, bro. Because you already I already came through a bunch of people telling me, oh, and this happened and this is why I'm here and all of this, yo. You just got to be stronger. You can't be always relying on other people and blaming other people. And this person helped you get here, and the minute something went wrong, now you turn your back on them and all this, yo. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pick and choose your battles. It really is one of those things, yo. And if you really got this deep to where you're speaking about this right now, it's up to you on how far you want to take it. Don't pick a battle that you can't fight. I had to learn that. Don't pick a battle you can't fight. I had to learn that. And let me speak it one more time. Don't pick a battle you can't fight. I had to learn that. Okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. I appreciate you guys for checking out the vid, and I'll have more soon. Thanks for watching.